Good morning, everyone. This is Emily from Grammy's Garden. It's January, it's cold, and I am so missing my garden. I went out and walked around it early this morning. I even uncovered a few of the garlic just to look at them and see some green. But anyway, everything's good out there. So what I'm doing to kind of satisfy that gardening, preserving food urge that I can get, that I do have right now bad here in January. I'm going over my seeds. I'm looking, okay, I got to get another seed catalog from another company because I've got what I want from this one. And so I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I'm really getting impatient and I can't do that. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. This summer when I had tomatoes, and I had more tomatoes than I could deal with in a day or two, I just put them in a brown bag and I put them in the freezer and I froze them. So what I'm doing today is I'm plunging those frozen ones into hot water and the skins just slip off of them. I'll show you how easy that is. And then I'm going to put them in my cooker here. In my cooker. I have a big Nesco cooker. I'm not going to be using it simply because I don't have enough tomatoes for it. But this is going to make some ketchup. Ketchup was my favorite thing with my tomatoes all summer. And I gave a little jar to my daughter and they loved it. And I gave another little bit and the rest of my family got to enjoy it. But we didn't get to enjoy much because it takes a lot of tomatoes to get just even a pint. So this year I have big plans for tomatoes like Amish paste, and not just the big juicy ones because they don't make the things like ketchup and sauces as well. They do make them great, but they don't make them as well. So I'm going to show you this. I've already gotten started here, and then I want to show you this tomato. Now this is a Cherokee purple. Don't think, oh, what's wrong with that tomato? They do get green. They stay kind of green around the top. See how the skin is just slipping off of that in my hand? It makes it so easy. I've got to add some more hot water to them. And then we're just going to keep right on going with this process. So I'll be back with you all. Okay, this is where this tomato, the tomatoes are cooking down. They were like about right up to here and right to there. And they're cooking down slowly. I took the lid off and I had to do that this summer too. And it's getting thicker. And I have a mill, a food mill, that's like a hand crank one. And that's what I'm going to do when I'm getting ready because I want all these seeds out of that. We don't want ketchup with seeds in it. I don't anyway. It might not bother anybody else, but I just would rather not. And I was so happy with how it turned out. It's steaming my camera. So I have added to this salt, and I'll give you the exact amounts in the description box below. I've added salt, brown sugar, a little cinnamon, clove, the clove powder, onion powder, and garlic powder. And then it's going to need vinegar in it. And I'm going to just taste it. I'm going to cook it to taste. That's what I did this summer and came out with, I think I looked at 3 or 4 different recipes, including one I had here. And I looked at them and kind of combined everything and did it totally by taste. So that's where it's at this point. It's been going about 6 hours, probably 6 hours, 7 hours. I may have to let this cook all night long. That's what I had to do before. So we'll catch up when it gets more toward being ready. Good morning, everyone. This is Emily. I worked yesterday, which was Wednesday, and when I got home, I just didn't feel like processing my ketchup that I'd had boiling. So what I did, I want to be sure that I've got every little bits of anything out of here. This is my strainer that I told you about, that it's a hand crank model. I love it. It's just sometimes a little bit of food can get trapped in that and I have to keep that clean. So that was just real life right there for you, okay? So fortunately my son has hooked up for me a system where I have an overhead camera to show you. So I have a good almost a half gallon of tomatoes that have cooked down. It has garlic powder, onion powder, just a touch of cinnamon, just a touch of nutmeg, and clove, ground clove, and salt, of course, and brown sugar. So what I do is I put a little bit in of those spices, a little bit, and I taste it. And if it's getting close to that good ketchup taste that I love from some of the good store brands, then I go ahead and go with it. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be getting the seeds out of this, removing the seeds and some of the pulp from the cooked down tomato. So all in all, I mean, this really was such an easy process compared even to the summertime. So what I do with this is I swirl it around and around and around. I crank it around and around, and then I go back over it. And this has the ability to tighten how close the blade that's going around is to the sieve on the bottom. This isn't a promotion of this product. The reason I think that I like to use this so well is because this is what my mom used. And I swear the older I get, the more I think of what did my mom do. Because I really realized I was learning from her without being taught per se. So once I get this done, can you see how there's so much pulp in there? And this, I'll keep working with it. And then you see this is very liquidy in the bottom. What that's going to do is go on the stove. I'm going to start it out real low because of the fact that it's been in a refrigerator and it's very cold. So I'm going to start out very low and just let it start simmering and simmering. And I'm going to go ahead and let it cook down. And this is a heavy bottom pan that I've got here. You know, when I make my candies and I talk about the heavy bottom pan and how important it is for me to not burn or scorch that product, that's the same thing with this. I don't want it scorching or burning. I want this to turn out because it's kind of a precious commodity and you may think, oh, ketchup, it's ketchup. Well, this ketchup, nobody that tried it argued with, they'd never taste better ketchup. And I started out with the Ball recipe, the Ball canning book recipe, and then I altered it to fit my taste buds. I happen to like clove, but it's not overwhelming. So there you have it. When I have it on the stove and have it boiled down, then I'm going to put it into jars. Okay, I'm ready to jar this ketchup up. So here we go. Now, this beautiful stuff, you see how it's a dark red now? It's all cooked down. And I learned from the first time I made it this summer that what I can do is go ahead when it's at the consistency it's at now. And it may look really thin to you all, but whenever this, let me do this again. It may look thin, but whenever it goes into the jar and cools down, it really thickens. My recipe has no thickener added. I don't want any thickener added to it. I'm going to pour this into a Pyrex cup and then into my jars. This smells so good. I wouldn't mind having a big old cheeseburger at lunch with this on it. Okay, I think I'm going to have more than I thought I would. So, first jar. Now I'm using jars that had pizza sauce purchased in it. Ooh, that looks so good. I'm really gonna have more than I thought. I've got 2 nice jars here. And I am so happy. I am so happy. Excuse all that noise. It's still early in the morning. It's not that early, but it's a lot earlier than when I'm usually making my videos. Now in the summertime, I'm making my videos at 4:30 or 5. But anyway, I've got 2 full jars of the most delicious. I'm gonna get another spoon because I overfilled this one. So today I've got some sweet company coming, and I get to send her back some nice ketchup because they loved it. Let me put the lid on this and show y'all. I'm gonna set these aside. From a bag that I had frozen tomatoes in my refrigerator, not enough to do anything with, but I thought, freeze them, use them in the wintertime. So, here you go. 2 lovely jars of rich, really flavorful ketchup that I don't think it can be beat.